I just want you guys to know that you're now involved in a spiritual organization with this guy.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're looking at 20 famous celebrities who have a history with cults.
In fact, my cousin Dennis wanted us all to join Manson's family.
The Scientologists.
So when people say Tom doesn't leave because they have information on him or John, that's not the reason. The amount of power they receive from this church is like nothing in Hollywood. It is like nothing. There is no reason for them to leave this environment.
This whole list could be populated just with Scientologists, so let's just clump them all together for the sake of variety. Founded in the 1950s by a science fiction writer, the Church of Scientology has long been described as such by its critics and the people who have escaped it. The church has its claws firmly implanted within the Hollywood system, attracting a slew of popular household names. John Travolta, Michael Pena, Laura Prepon, Danny Masterson, Jason Lee, Juliette Lewis, Elizabeth Moss, all have identified themselves as Scientologists at one point or another, and that's just a fraction of the very long list. And of course, we'd be remiss not to mention Tom Cruise, the most famous and outspoken Scientologist of them all.
Is Tom Cruise a true believer?
I feel that he is a true believer.
Kira Maguire.
Obviously, in the media, they've spoken about your cult upbringing.
A popular reality star, Kira Maguire made her name on the Bachelor franchise in the late 2010s, and she has quite the fascinating backstory. Maguire was born into an Australian polygamist cult called the Seaside Sect, which was led by her father, Alista Laishkatov. He styled himself as a messianic figure and believed that he was Jesus, marrying 9 women and fathering over 60 children according to various sources. Luckily, Maguire's mother eventually removed her from that environment when she was a child, and she was subsequently raised by her mother and grandmother in Brisbane. She has since stated that she has no relationship with her father and remains estranged from him.
Look, initially I was a little bit overwhelmed and it was very confronting for me, but I just kind of I've come to terms of, how this industry is, and I feel like for me, I'm quite resilient, so I'm fine and I'm really happy. I feel like there's nothing you can do or say about me now that will actually upset me.
Sharon Gans.
And you know what? I'm gonna lose weight just for you, Billy. See, before I needed a reason, and now I have one.
While she was never a huge name, Sharon Gans found a modicum of success in 1972, playing Valentia Merble Pilgrim in Slaughterhouse-5. The movie was a huge critical success, even winning the jury prize at Cannes. But just as her career was taking off, Gans became deeply involved in the teachings of the Fourth Way, a spiritual system developed by the Russian mystic G.I. Gurdjieff. Alongside her husband, Alex Horn, Gans ran a number of schools teaching something called the work. Unfortunately, these schools were widely criticized for their cult-like behavior, including intense secrecy, isolation, and psychological manipulation. Journalistic exposés and survivor accounts have painted a consistent picture of the group as cult-like, but Gans maintained a strong following until her death in 2021.
Oh, I'm really gonna lose weight, Billy. I love you.
Dennis Wilson.
Wait, Spawn Movie Ranch?
Yeah.
That's where you're going, Spawn Movie Ranch. Well, why are you going there?
I live there.
Alone?
No. Me and my friends.
You'd be surprised at how many people knew Charles Manson back in the day. In the late 1960s, Manson was an aspiring musician and was attempting to break into the Los Angeles music scene. Enter Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys. He befriended the famous cult leader after picking up 2 hitchhiking members of the family, and he became captivated by Manson's charisma and musical ambition. He allowed Manson and several followers to live in his Sunset Boulevard home, and he even recorded one of his songs, retitled Never Learn Not to Love. But over time, Wilson grew disillusioned with Manson's increasingly erratic behavior, and fearing for his safety, Wilson severed ties and abandoned his house to escape the family.
For the Beach Boys, for the low point for the group, I have to say that my cousin Dennis's choice in roommates, meaning Charlie Manson. That was rough.
Bethany Joy Lenz.
You write about in the book how while you were filming, the leaders of this cult that you were a part of told you not to trust your co-stars and to essentially stay away from them.
Yeah.
Best known for playing Haley on One Tree Hill, Bethany Joy Lenz has spoken openly about her decade-long experience in a cult, something she kept private during her acting career. Lenz joined a Christian cult called the Big House Family after moving to LA, describing it as a seemingly innocent Bible study group. However, the group eventually shifted into something far more malicious, becoming highly manipulative, isolating, and controlling. Lenz was also indoctrinated during her time on One Tree Hill, partly alienating her from her castmates, many of whom continuously told her to leave the group. She also claims to have lost roughly $2 million to the cult, which was a significant chunk of her One Tree Hill earnings.
To leave all my friends that I had known for the last 10 years, to leave my marriage, to leave the state, all at the same time. And just me and my baby in Hollywood, like, hire me, anyone? Not knowing how I was gonna make rent because all the money was gone.
Andrew Keegan.
We have a creed. We do believe that everything is an expression of the Creator and that we coming together create our own destiny, our own path.
Following a successful run on television, Andrew Keegan turned to film and found a great role as Joey in 10 Things I Hate About You. And after that, he turned to cult leadership, allegedly. In 2014, Keegan founded a religious movement called Full Circle, which he described as a, quote, non-denominational spiritual community, where people, quote, come together to meditate, practice yoga, and engage artistically. Other people called it a cult. Whatever it was, the group didn't last long, with its main center closing in 2017 after facing financial difficulties. Keegan continues to defend Full Circle, claiming on the podcast, Pod Meets World, that the media has spun this story out of proportion.
If you do things from a place of love, you will feel good, and it's an energy exchange. It's being one with the environment, one with each other.
Christopher Owens.
When I moved to the US, it was 1996, and this was my introduction to all music. And I had no friends, not even one.
Art is often born from pain. Take a look at Christopher Owens, a musician who found success both as a solo artist and as a member of the indie group Girls. Owens was raised in a famous cult called Children of God, which is known for targeting minors. Owens' infant brother died of pneumonia before Christopher was born, as his parents failed to seek medical intervention. While he was mostly raised on religious music, Owens was introduced to famous bands through the movies he watched, and he quickly developed an interest in harder rock. He ran away from the cult when he was 16, joining his sister in Texas, and learning how the outside world operated by busking on the streets.
The first friends that I made were listening to like hardcore punk rock. So I naturally discovered a lot of that through them.
Jeremy Spencer.
Traveling a distant land, I really enjoy the days.
Many celebrities were born into Children of God. Very few joined as adults, but Jeremy Spencer did. Spencer was a member of Fleetwood Mac in the late 60s and early 70s, playing both slide guitar and piano. But in February of 1971, the band was on tour in Los Angeles when Spencer stepped out to get a magazine. He never returned, and the band later discovered that he had joined the Children of God. And just like that, he was out of the band, having chosen a new direction in life. He has expressed regret about how he abandoned his bandmates, but not about joining the cult. He is still a practicing member to this day, and many survivors have accused him of sexual assault.
For your love, can I ever get enough of your love?
Marilyn Monroe.
Is something wrong with your mother?
She needs help.
She needs help?
Before she was the Marilyn Monroe, Norma Jean Mortensen was just another girl from West LA. Her mother Gladys had been raised in a Christian Science household, and some of that background filtered into Marilyn's early years and development. But when Gladys was institutionalized, Marilyn was sent to live with Anna Lauer, or Aunt Anna, as she was known, who was a devout Christian Scientist. The group does not believe in doctors, and Aunt Anna worked as a healing practitioner within the movement. Despite the upbringing, Monroe eventually left the group while making it in Hollywood, seeking spirituality through other outlets.
Let me just go put something on. I'll go into the kitchen and get dressed.
The kitchen?
Yes, when it's hot like this, you know what I do? I keep my undies in the icebox.
Neil Young.
But I hate them worse than leopards, and I'll kill them in the car.
We told you you'd be surprised at how many people knew Charles Manson. Manson met several notable musicians through his personal connection to Dennis Wilson, including Neil Young, who at the time was known for being a member of Buffalo Springfield. Young reportedly saw Manson play and thought he had talent, and he even suggested to music executive Mo Austin that they consider Manson for a recording contract, but nothing came of it. But Young distanced himself from Manson after the infamous murders, describing him as a talented, albeit dark and troubled man. The association remains a minor footnote in Young's career, but it illustrates how closely the counterculture briefly intersected with a famous killer.
You know, there are quotes in the book from the era of people who just were singing his praises left and right. I mean, Neil Young just talked about him like he was, you know, the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Jaden Smith.
I give you the Orgone accumulator. Captures the vibratory atmospheric atoms of the life principle. Folks get cancer because they run out of Orgone.
Energy of the mind and body are at the center of the cult of Orgone.
Jaden Smith is one of a number of celebrities with an interest in this idea, which was first introduced back in the 1930s by Austrian physician Wilhelm Reich. The approach of young people like Jaden, his sister Willow, and Kylie Jenner in Orgone seems to be purely focused on the vibes, energy, and libido of its source material. Still, Will and Jada's little boy has been known to wax faux philosophical on conspiracy theories. So who knows if Orgone's more esoteric schools of thought are far behind.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right. James Hetfield. Contrary to popular belief, not all heavy metal lyrics have roots in hellfire, brimstone, or the devil. In fact, many metal bands utilize their aggressive music to touch upon serious personal issues in their life. One such musician was Metallica's James Hetfield, who channeled his youthful anger and bitterness towards his parents into lyrics for songs such as the intense Dyer's Eve. Hetfield was born to strict Christian Scientists, who believed that prayer and faith, rather than modern medicine, should be used to treat disease and illness. James's mother Cynthia died from cancer when he was still a teenager, and the memory of his loss continued to inspire the frontman for years to come. Val Kilmer.
I'm your huckleberry. Why, Johnny Ringo. You look like somebody just walked over your grave.
Speaking of Christian Science, the next celebrity on our list is anything but bitter about his faith in this controversial religion, even to the point of challenging his own health. Val Kilmer was a superstar throughout the 1980s and 90s, a handsome and charismatic actor who delivered consistently impressive performances in films such as Tombstone, Heat, and Willow.
However, Kilmer's strong devotion to Christian Science caused him to ignore the initial signs of throat cancer, including an obvious lump in his throat. He only underwent chemotherapy after his children begged him to do so, and he lost his voice in the ordeal.
The Navy needs Maverick. The kid needs Maverick. That's why I fought for you. That's why you're still here.
The Arquette Family.
Listen up, people. John brought a guest to supper. So, everyone, this is Eddie.
Hi, Eddie.
Eddie, this is everyone.
Nice to meet you.
Alternative living was all the rage back in the 1960s and 70s. The idea that a commune of like-minded people could make a go of it, constructing a small society outside the confines of the modern world. These communes usually attracted hippie types, as well as those seeking to profit from those same hippies. Hollywood's Arquette family lived on such a commune back in the early 70s, a place called Skymont with no running water or utilities. Patricia Arquette told the Wall Street Journal that she, her parents, and her 4 siblings all slept in the same bare cabin room, living in poverty until eventually making their way back to the city.
Our commune's been monitoring the universe's life energy for like a really long time, and we're grokking some super weird junk.
I don't mean to be rude, but it's kind of hard to take you seriously when you say junk like grok and junk.
What about commune?
Especially commune.
R. Kelly.
A new BuzzFeed article is making some bombshell allegations that the singer is holding a Polk County woman and others in abusive cult-like relationships.
If there's any R&B performer who seems to be a magnet for controversy, it's R. Kelly. The singer, best known for songs like I Believe I Can Fly and the epic Trapped in the Closet, has raised eyebrows for the sort of behavior which went on behind closed doors at his various homes. Accusations of a sex cult atmosphere were levied against Kelly, who was described as both mentally and physically abusive. Kelly's demands of personal submission and control have been compared to a Stockholm Syndrome type of situation, and he was said to be in charge of what the women wore, what they ate, and how they communicated. He is currently serving a 31-year sentence for sexual abuse.
But we do begin tonight with singer R. Kelly, sentenced to 30 years behind bars after his conviction on racketeering and sex trafficking charges. Prosecutors accused him of leading a criminal enterprise of managers, bodyguards, and other employees to recruit and abuse women, underage girls, and a teenage boy.
Michele Pfeiffer.
When it comes to food preferences, you've probably heard of a vegetarian, a pescatarian. How about a breatharian?
It's a story as old as time. A young and optimistic star arrives in Hollywood with all of the hopes and dreams of becoming a star. So far, so good, right? But what happens when you make some poor decisions as to the sort of company you keep? Well, then you might find yourself in a situation such as the one Michele Pfeiffer told reporters when she was promoting for her 2013 film The Family. Pfeiffer revealed that she fell in with a niche cult run by 2 personal trainers early on in her career. It was called breatharianism, and stated that food and water were unnecessary to sustain life. Right.
The idea here is not to weigh yourself down with food so you can fill yourself with breath and life.
Rose McGowan.
What were its cult-like characteristics?
Various things that made no sense to me at all, like sit on your bed and learn how to snap your fingers all day so God will teach you to drive when you're 16. I'm like,
That was something you had to do?
For like 8 hours, I had to snap my stupid fingers. And I was like, this is absurd.
We return to the children of God for the story of Rose McGowan.
Rose McGowan grew up as a member of this religious cult, which first gained prominence back in the 1960s. Rose's father ran a chapter of the organization in Italy, a commune-esque existence which was noted by its acceptance of polygamy, as well as its sexual grooming of young girls for service to the men. McGowan and her father did eventually escape from the Children of God, but the organization still exists today under the moniker of the Family International.
So this was in Italy?
This was in Italy in a gated commune, if you will. So I didn't really have interaction for most of my life until I got sent to America with other people that were not in this group.
Allison Mack.
Ahead of sentencing, former Smallville actress Allison Mack apologized and called her time in Nexium, quote, the biggest mistake and regret of my life, saying, quote, I devoted my loyalty, my resources, and ultimately my life to him.
If you were looking for proof that not every cult was born from the psychedelic 60s and 70s, then look no further than our next troubling entry. One-time Smallville actress Allison Mack was one of a number of performers, alongside her co-star Kristen Kruk and Grace Park of Battlestar Galactica, to be connected with a disturbing cult known as Nexium. Mack was arrested in 2018 on charges of sex trafficking for the organization, recruiting young women for the cult's founder, Keith Raniere. Mack was even accused of branding some women during initiation ceremonies for Nexium, as well as blackmailing them into cooperating with the cult's wishes.
What was your first reaction when you heard about the 3-year sentence?
Just disbelief initially. It was just so surreal that it was actually happening. It's been such a long time coming, and it really just was sort of shocking.
Glenn Close.
People know the story, but your family was in a religious organization. Many people would call it a cult, called the Moral Rearmament. And your parents, at a delicate time in their own lives, joined it. and were taken away from the kids, and the kids kind of were scattered to the wind.
Glenn Close made no bones about her bitterness towards her experience as a young child living under the watch of a cult known as the MRA, or moral rearmament. Glenn's father moved the family to Switzerland when the actress was 7, and they lived there in commune-like conditions for 15 years. Close's entire life and behavior was reportedly under the scrutiny of the MRA, yet she told the New York Times in 2017 that it was the trials of this behavior which gave her the strength and the skills to become an actress.
How did that inform you? Or how do you think that informs you today?
It was incredibly destructive for all of us.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Joaquin Phoenix.
I got nothing left to lose. Nothing can hurt me anymore. My life is nothing but a comedy.
We return one last time to the Children of God and to perhaps its most famous follower.
Joaquin Phoenix, along with his brother River and other siblings, lived with their parents under the cult's rules for over a decade. The family traveled together with members of the cult throughout South America, and Joaquin, for his part, told Playboy magazine that he understood his parents' desire to commune with other like-minded people. Phoenix went on to add that he felt his life alongside his parents within the Children of God was rather innocent, although the family would break ties with the cult and return home to the US in 1978.
Hi, Gary.
What? Moving out, Gary.
What? See? You've upset your brother!
Do you know of any other examples? Let us know in the comments.
They believe in the authentic story that is life.